So, we've got some time before the Detroit Red Wings go out there and play off against the New York Islanders. We do have some extra things to go over in regards to that game, whether or not Dylan Larkin is going to return. There already was one confirmation of a return, though. The Islanders are getting Robert Bortuzzo back. He's been out for a while. But other than that, Larkin, game time decision, we'll see what happens, but for now, what I wanted to do in this video was talk about one of the top guys on the team. In fact, I could probably say he's been the top guy on the team the past few weeks here, Lucas Raymond, because not only has there been a growing amount of discomfort amongst the fan base saying, hey, Raymond is like the only guy who's actually doing good work here, as the Wings lost 7 straight, as they barely came back after winning versus Buffalo and then losing against Pittsburgh, and then the win the other night against the Columbus Blue Jackets. Lucas Raymond, he's been so good. And I kind of went out there and said on the other video that, yeah, just pay this guy as much money as he wants. This is the kind of player with the X factor that the Detroit Red Wings cannot afford to lose. And realistically, because nobody else is showing up and only he is, there could be an argument that says, yeah, this guy can just get everything. Everything the Detroit Red Wings can offer, Lucas Raymond should grab. But with this in mind, I wanted to open the floor up to other conversations regarding the 2020 NHL Draft, and in particular, this thought process of mine was started because of a post made on the R Red Wings sub. This was made yesterday, posted by ColeWeld50, and he asks the question, how good will Lucas Raymond get? Is the sky the limit? Raymond has been playing out of his mind and leads all 21-year-olds in points this season. There's an argument that he could be the second best player from that draft, probably second best to Stützle. But he plays hard and scores, passes, possesses, and wins puck battles. He's on pace for 70 points this season. I honestly think in the next 2 years, he could be a point-per-game guy and possibly end up breaking 100 points in a season at the rate he's developing. He's been better than lots of superstars when they were his age, including Nikita Kucherov. I don't know where to draw the limit, but I see either him or Seider being the captain after Larkin, but at this point, the sky looks to be the limit. And with that in mind, if you go over to Raymond and his point production, he does have 59 points in 69 games played, on pace for about 71, which is fine, you know, pretty good point production, a good step up from last year, but he really does shine when you look at the fact that he's got 8 points in his last 5 games and 8 points in his last 10, so the numbers are kind of wonky. He had 8 points in his last 5 games, but then I think 0 points in the previous 5 before that. But still, based off of the way the Red Wings are playing, Raymond is like the only guy who is putting in significant effort and making things happen and making plays, and you can see that he gets aggravated when the team doesn't do well, which is good because you want to see a guy go out there and exhibit that fiery passion. Top comment in this Reddit thread goes out there and says, before his draft, there were some comparisons made to Mitch Marner. Raymond seems more aggressive and more like a shooter than Marner, but that 90 to 100 point range that Marner is in seems reasonable for Raymond based off how he's played this season. And yeah, that actually was the biggest comparison that we made for Lucas Raymond. In fact, if you go over to Why I Want, all the way back in 2020, this was season 3, I'm pretty sure, we did, straight up, titled a video, Sweden's Mitch Marner. And yeah, he's kind of that guy, really. The mobility, the playmaking, the hands, the finesse. Marner is a little bit more of a passer. He's a little bit more of a throw the puck over the glass in a key moment kind of guy, but Lucas Raymond has his own chops as well, and you could definitely say that Raymond has a fire in him that Marner seems to lack. I like how he got tired of getting pushed around last season and went beast mode over the summer. 2 more years of chicken and rice off seasons, and I think he becomes a 100-point player. Earlier in the season, I saw something that compared his career stats to Kucherov. I don't remember where I saw it, but I'd like to think that's his ceiling. And the answer is underneath. They almost had the same amount of points through the same amount of games, but Raymond was significantly younger. So I'm not going to go out there and guarantee that Lucas Raymond has like a 140-point ceiling or whatever like Nikita Kucherov does, but rounding himself out in the 90, 95, 100-point range, that does not seem too unrealistic nowadays. And when you think about just that 2020 draft in general. The post brought up how you could debate that Raymond is the second best player in the draft behind Tim Stützle. I wanted to use that opportunity to talk about a guy taken first overall and where he's been going. Yeah, hard segue, but I also wanted to talk about Alexis Lafreniere in this video because, plain and simple, Lafreniere has been progressing too. Don't worry, Rangers fans, I'm not going to go out there and blast on your guy 100%. Lafreniere has himself 44 points in 69 games played, on pace for about 53 in this full season. Raymond has more points right now than Alexis Lafreniere has points projected. But you gotta remember that when it comes to the New York Rangers and their line deployment, some of these guys are not really getting any power play time. You're not seeing much there in terms of the opportunity. So for Alexis Lafreniere, it's kind of understandable to see why he's at this number, but playing with Artemi Panarin certainly has allowed him to unlock more of that offensive potential. I will say, though, when it comes to some of these tools, while it is true that maybe the hockey mind was already seen by most people as Lafreniere having the edge, I'd say that when it comes to a lot of the skating tools and aggressiveness, I'd say that Lucas Raymond has the edge there pretty handily. Like, nowadays, Alexis Lafreniere will get criticized quite a bit for not moving his feet or not having the best pace or being slow, etc., etc., and the Rangers needing to build around that has been a pretty big obstacle. But for Lucas Raymond, his motor and his foot speed, those were never in question. Add on the puck skills that you could debate are roughly the same, maybe give the slight edge to Lafreniere. Lafreniere is not afraid to go out there with a pretty nice dangle once in a while. Not that Raymond won't. It's just, I'd say that Lafreniere is more prone to doing that. Plus, the goal scoring, you could see that for goals right now, Lafreniere has 20 on pace for 24. Raymond this season has 24 already on pace for 29. So despite the fact that the Rangers are a better team and they have, let's just say, better players around these top-tier 2020 guys, Raymond is still forcing his hand and doing more, which is obviously something you prefer to see if you're a Red Wings fan. Is that to say that Raymond should have gone first overall in 2020 or second overall? Probably not. If you go back to 2020, I don't think anybody was projecting Raymond to be a better player than Lafreniere, mostly because Lafreniere has been kind of disappointing ever since the 2020 draft in comparison to the hype level that surrounded his name. Jack Hughes was taken first overall in 2019, and he was pretty disappointing in his first NHL season, but he quickly turned it around and now is a 100-point pace caliber guy. But for Lafreniere, he hasn't had that breakout just yet. Lucas Raymond, on the other hand, has. When you talk about some of the other guys, though, at the top of that 2020 draft, you could say that for Quinton Byfield, he's been pretty good, too. He's had a great season so far, but still not better than Raymond's at this point in their careers. And then for Tim Stützle in the third overall spot, he has been phenomenal. The best player out of the draft so far, and it's not even really close. So for Raymond, he pretty much is number 2, I guess you could say, at this point in their career so far. But better than Lafreniere? I think it's probably easy to come to that conclusion. So, if you're a Detroit Red Wings fan, I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section. Where do you think the ceiling lies for Raymond? When 2045 comes around and Raymond is already retired from NHL play, he's in his 40s, how many points do you think he scores in his most productive Red Wings season? Is it in that 90, 95 range? Does he break 100? Does he break 110? Does he go to the Nikita Kucherov route and get a 120-point season? And same question goes for Alexis Lafreniere. When you talk about who was supposed to be the top guy in this draft, sure, Tim Stützle probably stands out as the number 1 guy, but who's number 2? Is it Lucas Raymond? Is it Alexis Lafreniere? Is it Seth Jarvis? Is it whomever else was taken in different positions in the 2020 draft? There are a lot of options, but I want you to let me know your thoughts in the comment section below as to which one you think is the most appropriate. And for the Red Wings and Raymond, how much do you think this guy's going to make on his next contract? Because that certainly is another conversation to have too. Let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. I hope you enjoyed this video. And bye.